It's 2009 and we're at the World Dairy Expo. And it's my pleasure to be interviewing Dr. Dave Dickson, Professor Emeritus, but mostly well known as a judge of dairy cattle. Dave, we've had some great shows at World Dairy Expo. This is another one, isn't it?
Well, it really is, and I think the thing that's the most amazing to me is how the quality of the cattle seems to get deeper and deeper every year. There are just more good ones. I don't know that the best ones are a lot better, but the ones at the bottom end are the ones that amaze me at how really correct they are.
Well, Dave, your career as an expert in knowledge on how to judge dairy cattle and has been second to none, I guess. Just so you can relate, and maybe you won't remember them all, but approximately how many countries have you judged shows, and maybe how many shows have you judged?
You're right, I probably don't have a count, but I've judged quite a few shows in Europe, Central America, and South America. Been to Australia and New Zealand to judge there, and done some work in Japan. So pretty much spans the continent, or the world, except for the continent of Africa, which I have not been to. And it's great fun. The one thing that I would share with people is that cattle people everywhere are the same. They may speak different languages, they might have cows that look a little different, but they all have the same love for those cattle and the interest in how they can improve those cattle through genetics and animal breeding practices.
Well, obviously your passion for dairy cattle and their evaluation started at an early age, and I know that you came from the state of Washington, so why don't you tell us about your family background?
Right, I'm the oldest of 6, and what I remember most as a youngster about the cattle is that there were about 15 of them, and we'd go out to the barn and help Dad take care of those 15 cows night and morning before school or after school, and developed a real interest in those cattle just by working with them. Then my father had been a 4-H leader and a 4-H member, and he thought it would be a good idea for my sister and I to join a 4-H club. She's just a year younger than I am. And he said he would be our leader, and he continued on as a 4-H dairy leader for 25 years, long after all 6 of us were out of the project. And it was a really great experience. As anybody that grows up on a farm knows, there's just no place like the farm to learn about life and to get experiences that will help you through your life.
Well, obviously you developed, and your father being a good coach, developed some skill in judging, and that took you quite very far, didn't it?
Yeah, I used to tell people that dairy cattle judging was my 7-league boots. They took me pretty much everywhere. Our 4-H team from our county won the national competition in 1956, and we were invited then to attend a competition and show in England in 1957. My sister and I both happened to be on that judging team, and I think that probably got me really interested in continuing to judge cattle. We visited the birthplace of all of the breeds of cattle on that trip, which is something that every 4-H kid ought to have a chance to do. Now, that's probably not reasonable, but it certainly was interesting to us at that time.
Well, then you continued your studies at Washington State, and again, we're involved in a national contest and are one of the few individuals that have won the 4-H and the collegiate judging contest.
That's right. I used to tell people I never got beat except one contest, which was held at the International Dairy Show. A week after the national competition, my sister beat me and I was second. So at least we were able to keep it in the family.
Well, then you got this Kildee Scholarship from the Dairy Shrine, and that led to graduate studies and the start of your career.
Right. I can remember my granddad sending me a newspaper clipping before our collegiate judging team went to Waterloo, Iowa. I think he probably got it out of the Hordes Dairyman, and it said they were going to increase the amount of money from $500 to $1,000. So Grandpa cut that out, mailed it to me to be sure I knew that I needed to win that contest. And fortunately I did, and my college advisor had done his graduate work at Wisconsin, and he strongly recommended that I use that scholarship to attend the university. And I can remember him telling me, that's where all the cows are, so you really need to go there. And that's how I happened to end up in Wisconsin.
Well, at Wisconsin, you had obviously great training, and you ran into one of the Dairy Shrine pioneers called Jim Crowley, who probably served as an early mentor to you as well.
That's right. Jim was pretty smart. About the first day that I was there, he said, I hear you judged some cows somewhere. And I said, yeah, I did. And he said, you're coming with me. And so ever since 1961, which was when I arrived in Madison, I've helped train judging teams. And I think if I add those up, that comes to 49 to this point in history. I'm hoping to stick around long enough to do one more.
Well, obviously, we hope you have many more years to do that. But you don't just coach teams; you coach national champion teams, and I think you should be proud of what you've done that way. And you have about as many national champions as any coach, so you've been very successful. About how many championships have you had?
We have been very fortunate to have lots of good young people come through the program, and I knew that that would happen when they offered me a position on the faculty at the university, and that it would be fun to take over that judging program and see where we could take it. And it took a while before that first one, but 1985 was the first year we were able to win the national championship, at least in my regime. They tell me we won in 1939 and in 1924. I kind of missed both of those, but then beginning with that one in 85, we've won 7 national championships since then.
Well, what your teams are probably most well known for is their ability to give a set of reasons that's very clear and concise, and that's very appreciated by the judges. Do you have any secrets about how you train the kids to do that?
Yeah, actually I do. I tell them to be sure that you get all the points right. Don't try to go in there and tell some little fib, because they'll pick up on it. And second, get it in the right order. Prioritize the most important point first, the second most important second. And the thing that probably I enjoy the most is I just talked to one of the former judging team members here this week, who's an attorney, and she told me, just like several of the other young people who are either ministers or attorneys, that practice that they got learning how to organize a little 2-minute speech has helped them in whatever they do. So it's really an important part of the competition, and we do work a lot harder on it than anyone else.
Well, Dave, you're highly reviewed by your students, and I'm one of those, and obviously you're well known for your ability to communicate and educate and probably inspire. It's probably due to your passion, but what keeps you really excited about this kind of work?
Well, I think it is. I really enjoyed teaching young people and really and their parents as well as an extension specialist for all those years. But I think that the ability to tie my interest and love of dairy cattle to something that related to young people really was the perfect combination. And so it was something I loved doing, and I think you do transmit, if you really enjoying yourself, you have to at least get a little bit of that enthusiasm to the group that you're trying to teach.
Well, you've seen quite a few students come and go and be very successful, as you said. So the judging program really is much more than just judging cows, isn't it?
Oh, right. In fact, that's the least important part of it. I have always said, if you never judge another cow, that's after our national contest, I tell the kids, if you never judge another cow, you're going to take home experiences that will help you through the rest of your life.
So in all your years of judging and going overseas and everything, do you have any some of the highlights that you really treasure the most, I guess?
Well, I think the idea that in Japan and in Italy and in Belgium and in Spain, they have liked the way I judged cattle well enough to invite me to come back and actually do a seminar to teach their judges how to judge. And I think that that's been really important to me, just because it gives me a lot of pride that at least there are other people who appreciate what I have tried to be able to do myself.
Well, it's very appropriate we're at World Dairy Expo, because I believe you have a record here for judging, and why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've done here at World Dairy Expo?
Well, I've been very fortunate, and a lot of that's because exhibitors, I think, enjoy getting somebody that's completely disconnected. I don't own any cows. I don't have any biases. I don't have any of my bulls in AI or any of that sort of thing. So I can really go into a ring to judge a show with complete lack of bias. And because of that, I think I think it's 15 occasions I've been selected to judge one of the national shows here at World Dairy Expo. And don't ask me to pick one out that was my favorite, because I've loved every one of them.
In terms of your ability to give seminars and other things, I know that you've also been reached out from even other species as well.
Yeah, that's what happens. Once in a while, somebody that was a very good Guernsey breeder and had been for many years happened to develop an interest in showing dogs. And in dog shows, they don't really give you any reasoning. They just hand out the ribbons. And you can't even ask a judge why your dog was like, whatever, fifth. And so they do have an interest in changing that. And I've put on conferences on how to give reasons for dog breeders in several different places, and even in Canada a couple times.
So throughout your whole career, you've been a great educator, a great judge, someone highly admired for your skill. I think from your standpoint, your career is obviously not done. Do you have any goals left that you'd like to reach?
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, I want to coach one more team so I can say I did it for 50 years. That would be fun. And, you know, I would like to just be able to keep coming to World Dairy Expo every year to watch the great cattle that they parade across the colored shavings out there, because that's a real treat.
Well, for anybody that's going to view this video, now or in the future, you have any advice for any young person on how to develop a career?
Well, I think the thing is, try to find something that you really enjoy doing. That's the part that I could never believe, David, is that for all 32 years that I was at the university, I liked coming to work every day because I loved what I did, and I knew that I was going to have fun that day, and that it probably wasn't going to be anything like the day before. So if people can find an opportunity to end up in a profession that you get to do something you really enjoy doing with people that you really enjoy working with, you've got it made. That's the perfect scenario.
Well, it's been my pleasure to have this little chat with Dr. Dave Dickson, a tremendous coach, educator, a judge, and truly a dear friend of the dairy industry. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.